This is a more serious short story entitled Alma Mater. Miami University was my first and only choice for college. It was a quiet campus in Oxford, Ohio, in a small southwestern town midway between Dayton and Cincinnati, and not far from the Indiana border. Miami's brick academic halls were located in a central green interspersed with tall shade trees, old-fashioned lampposts, and crisscrossing walkways. Two additional greens to the south and east had more brick structures, student dorm residences. Intuitively, I felt a safe, comfortable feeling from the stately buildings and the clean-cut students I saw when touring the college with my parents and my older brother, John. I was 13. He was 17. The tour was really for him. My choice was immediate. His was not. Our mother loved the Georgian architecture and could even envision taking courses there. She had always wanted a college degree, but only managed 2 years of business school before marrying and becoming a stay-at-home mom. Our father liked the low in-state tuition fees. He attended college on the GI Bill and managed through hard work and saving to afford his children's tuitions. He took great pride in this achievement. Both parents approved of the school's policy banning cars on campus and the town's code forbidding the sale of hard liquor. Only 3.2% alcoholic beer was legal. They were grateful that some standards were set. Both were pleased when John eventually chose Miami. Being a good big brother, he invited me to Miami's Little Sis weekends, where I saw my tall, witty brother in a new light. He had an easy camaraderie with peers and admiring looks from co-eds. John was the social director of his fraternity, with access to its kitchen for midnight snacks. He knew friends with wheels to make quick trips to Indiana to stock the frat house for parties. Through dubious connections, he procured a fake ID for me to test new limits as Mary Martin. I probably disappointed him by being more of an observer than a participant. I could do without the frat parties or uptown bars, but I was envious of his enjoyment of life without parents and thankful of his including me. In 1968, John graduated from college as I was graduating from high school. He went to Ohio State Law School, having a military deferment by joining the Ohio National Guard. I went off to Miami to start my freshman year. It was my turn to forge my own identity, though I lacked my brother's charisma and desire to experiment. My Miami experience was different from his. I joined a sorority, but the Greek life didn't hold my interest as it had for John. Males had off-campus houses to live in and hold social events. Females had suites in dorms, rooms serving as places for business meetings, not habitats or mixers. Later, I suspected that my pledge acceptance was a whim of some senior girls who knew my brother. My grades suffered during freshman year, but unlike John, I wasn't having fun. I wasn't prepared for science courses, never learning to use a microscope or grasp scientific terms. An impertinent zoology lab instructor teased me for not correctly identifying the sex organs in a dissected frog. My insecurities increased in English and history classes, where requirements taxed my abilities to read lengthy chapters quickly and write flowing compositions. Those were skills my brother had. I excelled in psychology courses, my major, yet I couldn't connect the information with real life. I was depressed and didn't know why. I felt a general restlessness, a lack of purpose. In my sophomore year, I vowed to bring up my grades and to explore ways to be useful. I applied to VISTA, a service agency like Peace Corps, only within the U.S. And while waiting for a response, I also applied to a summer camp program in upstate New York for poor New York City families. These were short-term goals which I didn't share with my family to avoid unnecessary conflicts if not accepted. Ennui overwhelmed others too. I witnessed students sampling marijuana or various sex partners. Dissatisfaction echoed in psychedelic music blaring out of dorm windows or in discussions spreading through the little cliques in the student union. Students were trying to sound intelligent without caring about accuracy or impact of their words. World events were slow to penetrate the Miami idyllic life, as dorms had only TV in the lobby, not in every room, and few had time to sit and watch. So the pervasive restlessness at Miami appeared to be a typical coming-of-age phenomena, not a plot by radicals. During the afternoon of April 15, 1970, an uneventful peace rally was held on a mid-campus lawn. I was unaware of it until after it concluded. Rumors started circulating that some students were going over to the ROTC building that evening for an impromptu battle of the bands. It was attracting more music lovers than protesters. I didn't even know where or what ROTC was, so I stayed in the dorm to study. Later that night, and all through the following week, conflicting reports filtered back. Extra untrained special deputies hired by the Butler County Sheriff's Department responded to the scene in an overzealous manner. Their indiscriminate words, tear gas, and brute force only inflamed the crowd. Some protesters and bystanders were injured, some suspended, and some arrested. In reaction to the April 15th happening, a student-led prank occurred April 21st. Directions spread by word of mouth. At 6 p.m., everyone on campus activated toilets, sinks, and showers simultaneously. Pranksters, no matter their political leanings, participated, and I did too. It was dubbed the Great Flush-In. It emptied the town's water supply by disposing 3 million gallons of water in less than 30 minutes. The action united students, even though they were the ones who suffered the most from the outcome. The flush-in was a nonviolent, laughable act compared to the fires and bombings occurring at some colleges campuses across the nation. Then on May 4th, at a peace rally at Kent State University in northern Ohio, made major headlines when National Guardsmen shot into a crowd, killing 4 students. That galvanized the public in fear. On May 7th, Miami's President Shriver closed our school and sent students home. My father arrived that afternoon, having driven his Mercury Grand Marquis down from Columbus with his brother Jim. He was anxious to load up and make the return 2-hour drive in daylight. My Uncle Jim, who was younger and stronger than my father, helped to carry heavy luggage and boxes of books to the car. When the trunk and most of the back seat were filled, my father asked, "Is that everything?" "Yeah, Dad." Can I use your dorm bathroom before we go?" Uncle Jim asked. It might be better if you try elsewhere. Our plumbing's not working well," I replied without giving incriminating details. "Oh, wait till we stop for gas," my father suggested. On the ride home, my father and uncle sat in the front seat exchanging comments while I was in the back, squeezed among my belongings. "Elmer, I heard it was pretty bad at Kent State. Now a lot of schools are thinking about closing, not just Miami," Uncle Jim said. "There must be outside agitators stirring up trouble," my father replied. My thoughts swirled. I wanted to reply but didn't. There were no outsiders at Miami. We were kids. We were ordinary college kids. Uncle Jim said, "They had to call in the National Guard at Kent." "It's a good thing they were there. The students were out of control. The guardsmen had no choice. We can't have students protesting. We have to nip it in the bud," my father replied. I couldn't stay still any longer. "Dad, do you hear what you're saying? It could have been John shooting at me." "You would have had no business being there." The words came as a slap, a permanent rift in our relationship. There were no more political discussions for the rest of the ride home, and there were no more political discussions between my father and I for the rest of our lives. Going home was not a return to a safe refuge. Home was a holding place, a place of waiting to see if the uncompleted school year would resume or count for any valid credit, waiting to receive word about my camp and Vista applications, waiting for my separate life to unfold. In the end, I received college credit, worked as a camp counselor, gave up on Vista when rejected due to lack of experience with poverty, and kept in touch through letters and occasional visits with that impertinent Zoolab instructor. He was Quaker and had returned to his home state of New York for 2 years of alternative service. At the end of my junior year in his conscientious objector's service, we were married and finished our studies at the University of Cincinnati. My Catholic parents accepted the union because his being Quaker could not be too bad. After all, President Nixon was Quaker.